Hello, welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about partials and reusability. Because let's be honest, if we could make app development easier and faster, we would of course want to do that. So let's get started. Let's first talk about what is a partial precisely. Well, as the name suggests, it is a part of your page existing out of one or multiple page builder components. So what you can do is you can create a partial out of a group of components when you plan on reusing that group of components. For example, I have a form or a nice header and I want to reuse that. I want to have this in another page as well. So instead of having to recreate that amazing header that you've created or that wonderful form, you can turn it into a partial and reuse it within those other pages. So let's take a look and see how we can make a partial ourselves. So what I've done, I have created a blog post holder. So what this basically does is it shows you this blog post that I've made, and well, I am really proud of it. It looks amazing. It took me a long time to create it, and I really do not want to recreate this in every other page that I'm going to show my blog post. So let's show and let's see how we can turn this into a partial and reuse it in our other pages. We can turn this into a partial by first selecting the main component that our blog post or our item is in. So in this case, I've got a column and I'm gonna select the parent, so that's the row. In this case, I've got a row, as you can see, following the blue line, that holds my background and my blog post. So make sure to check that everything you want of your item is inside the parent component. You can also select smaller components, such as I can also just select the card, but in this case, I also want the background. So I'm selecting the row, and I'm going to the left bottom of my application. And here you can see the button Convert to Partial. So click on the Convert to Partial button, and here I can say, well, give my partial a name. So what is this segment of my page called? In this case, I'm going to call it blog post partial. And I'm going to save it. And as you can see, it turned green. This entire part has been put together basically and is now a partial. So what I can do is I can open up another page. So I've got a page over here, and in the left top of your application, you have the component tab, and this can also lead you to the partial section. So click on the partial section, and there you can see your first partial. So in this case, I have my blog post partial. I can drag this onto my page and ta-da! That saved me a lot of time and effort and pain because I immediately have this amazing blog post setup that I wanted to use in another page. And the best thing is that every developer within this application can make use of this partial. So this partial is available for everyone working in this app. So you can create a partial, and every other developer working in a different page will have that increased speed and of development because of your partial. Another thing with partials is that whenever you are using action buttons within the partial, the action button will keep referring to the same action. So you don't need to change anything about that as long as it stays in one application, of course. However, you do need to watch out with interactions that you've set up within a partial or within your component group, because since you have put these components in a different page, it might not point to the correct component anymore. So interactions might not work anymore. So do check the interactions when you're working with partials. So in every page that you use this component, the partial stays the same. Also, if we make any changes, that's the power of a partial. You can have this same thing, this amazing header, and you just need to do one thing, make one change, and it all stays the same. However, as you can see, it is one big green component now. We can no longer make changes in the page itself. I can go to my layout here, to my components, try and drag a title in my component, but it does not work. So what we need to do to make changes to our partial, we can either convert it back to components, this way that we can make all kinds of edits, or we can edit the partial inside of the partial editor. When we change items inside the partial editor, it will change across the entire application. So let's click on Edit Partial. And for the easy way, we're going to change blog post to blog post number 3. the best one, for example. So here we go. It's immediately been saved. As you can see, we have a green check mark, so I can now go back to my page and it immediately says blog post number 3, the best one. Now I can also go to my other page, and as you can see, the title here changed as well. So changes in partials are pulled across your entire application. And a component is just a group of components in this case that we can change per page or per application. So select the partial that you've created, click on the Save as New Component button, and let's give it a name. So this is my blog post partial. Oh, just let me give it a clear and easy name. You can also give it an icon so that it will fit inside of your component set. So in this case, let me give it the card icon. There we go. Select the icon, and I'm going to put this in the content because it's a blog post. And then there's the option Share via Blog Store. And the Blog Store allows you to share your blocks or your components across your organization or for yourself across multiple applications. So Share via Blog Store. I'm going to create new block. What's the goal of this block? Blog posts. Odin. Making sure that people know that it's my blog. It's just a naming convention for me. So blog name is going to be blog post Odin, and I'm going to add to the blog store. So right now we can already see, if I scroll to my content tab in my component section, there is the blog post partial. However, I would also like to use this blog post partial in another application of mine. So let's go to the blog store. In the blog store, there's all kinds of blogs, but I would like to see my own blog. So my blogs, here you have your release blogs and your development blogs. In your development blogs, you can find the partial that we've just turned into a released or into a non-released block. So let's open up this non-released block, and here you can see some information about that block. Here you can set the permissions and release the block. What release basically means is that it will be opened up to yourself or to other organizations or developers based on the permissions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the permissions, and here I can say give installation permission to owners and organizations. And every administrator within my organization or within the organization that I share it with can use this block at that point. So I'm going to share this with my own organization, so that's Odinblocks in this case, save it, and the block permissions have successfully been updated, so I'm going to release it, release my blog. So here we go. Your blog has successfully been released. So my blog posts Odin component is now available throughout my organization. So I've also set open another application that I have. So what I can do is I can go to the pages and I can open up a different homepage. Here we go. And this is another application in my organization. I'm going to scroll down, and here you can see this is the blog post partial that is available for me as an owner. And the blue one that you see over here is the blog post partial available throughout the organization. That's why it has a blue logo. I can drag this onto my page, and as you can see, the blog post has been shared in a different application. So now you know how to create partials, you know how to make your own components and even share them across different organizations or different apps in this case. I recommend speeding up your development by using these functionalities on headers, footers, etc. Items that you keep recreating in your application so that you're done faster with app development and can enjoy your products even faster. Good luck.